Hi, my name is Morgan, and this is my final video presentation for Business and Capitalism and Society class. I'm a senior, so with graduation coming up, I've been thinking a lot about post-grad life and how I'm going to be able to financially support myself in this economy in just a few short months, which is what I really focused my presentation around in this final project. My educational background is in international relations and statistics and data science. I've never taken a business class at LMU before. I just had room for some extra credits, and I thought it would be beneficial to take a class through a different college to gain a different perspective, because the only sense that I've learned economics in has been through the policy side rather than the business side. So the shift was very interesting, and I feel like I learned a lot. For our assignment one, we were asked to identify the topics or ideologies that stood out to us that we felt like we strongly aligned with. I didn't feel like I shared strong values with any of the topics that we talked about in lecture two. These were just the three that stood out to me, either because they were most interesting or there was stuff that I agreed with as well, but mostly that it was new concept and new policy that I never heard of before. For example, with Keynesian economics, I didn't know that it was possible to call for increased government spending while taxes are lowered at the same time. I also talked about participatory economics because it reminded me of the individual level of politics, where a specific example that we talked about in class that reminded me of this was when where workers are compensated based on their effort rather than maybe how much financial capital is invested in the business that they're in, or the differences between the working middle and upper class. And democratic socialism was the third topic I chose, not necessarily because I had a strong belief with it. I just thought it was very interesting. And I also thought that this stance could be dysfunctional and unattainable. A dysfunctional system where citizens have a significant say in government decisions. So we're supposed to talk about where we want to be in the year 2028. Hopefully I'm financially independent. That's really my only hope. In 4 years, I'm going to be 25. I'm not planning to be married or have kids, so I can really focus on building my savings, staying out of debt, and maybe investing some of that money as well to set myself up for success financially. Before going into more of my predictions and fears for over the next 4 years going to 2028, I wanted to give a little bit of background of my understanding from other classes I've taken. Like I said, I'm studying international relations, and I was taking a class that was really interesting to me this semester called Identity Politics. It was also really interesting to take during the 2024 election cycle. And a part of the class was attending forums put on by Bellarmine College of Liberal Arts, BCLA. And the forum that I'm going to talk about that I think relates to this final project was the election postmortem hosted by Dr. Michael Genovese in the political science department here at LMU. He started off the election postmortem telling us we should be scared, that this second Trump administration is going to be the beginning of an era of regression. And we can see this in Trump's slogan, Make America Great Again. Dr. Genovese said that America will see a reversal of many things, including climate, women's rights, civil rights, and economic progress. The other speaker of the forum was Dr. Jessica Levinson from Loyola Law School. She presented an extensive list of legal issues that we need to look out for in this second Trump administration, which mirrored Trump's campaign strategy and its impact on society and the economy. And the topics that I thought aligned with this class that I wanted to talk about for my final were antitrust laws and civil service protection. Antitrust laws scrutinize mergers and acquisitions to prevent excessive market concentration that could harm competition. An example of this from the Biden administration was the administration was aggressive about going against big businesses like Google and Apple. And I believe this aggressiveness may evaporate with a second Trump administration, opening the possibility for market domination and inflation. For the second Trump administration, I could see them focusing on a more business-friendly antitrust policy. And we've seen this with Trump's economic rhetoric and plan, I guess he's put out, that he wants to encourage domestic production rather than rely on international trade. And even if there is less aggressive enforcement on antitrust laws than the Biden administration, a focus on consumer welfare could still protect consumers from a monopolistic market economy. Dr. Levinson told us, or shared with us, that civil service protection was going to be a big deal, as it ensures federal government employees will not be fired for disagreeing with the president. And we've seen with Trump's appointments to his cabinet that he has a clear goal of stacking his internal support with people who will align with his policies. And I fear that this will create a system where leaders in the healthcare system, the legal system, and the business world will be unable to present different opinions that are more beneficial than Trump's administration plan. For my next section, I was looking at how these issues that Dr. Levinson discussed align or don't with my initial ideologies. And I'm going to use my notes for this next section so I don't have to record this again. Keynesian economics emphasize government intervention to stabilize the economy and manage demand. And antitrust laws align with this Keynesian economic argument, as well as participatory economics by preventing monopolies and ensuring competitive markets. With civil service protection, Keynesian economics supports a stable and effective government to implement fiscal policies and manage economic intervention. With civil service protection, Keynesian economics supports a stable and effective government to implement fiscal policies and manage economic interventions. And again, civil service protection ensures that government employees can perform their duties without political interference, which aligns with democratic participation values of participatory economics, which is essential for consistent policy implementation so we aren't dominated by one view. And Keynesian economics is more of a theory of civil service protection because it doesn't specifically address it, but it focuses on broader economic policies that might or do or will. Although participatory economics shared values with Keynesian economics, I feel it was extremely unattainable and dangerous to put that much trust in people, civilian society, to run economics. So I don't believe that this aligns with my initial ideologies. Democratic socialism aligns with antitrust laws to prevent excessive market concentration and ensures that economic power is distributed more equitably. And finally, democratic socialism and civil service protections align with protecting the impartiality of the public sector, meaning they should make decisions based on objectives, ensuring that all citizens are treated equally and the public resources are used fairly. I apologize, that was very dense. This next section will be as well, but I'll go through it quickly to get to the 2028 plans. So looking forward into this second Trump administration through Keynesian economics, has a lot of government intervention, increased government spending, and lower taxes can stimulate the economy. However, demand pull inflation can happen if too much money is used on too little goods. With democratic socialism and inflation, there's a significant government control over the economy and welfare programs, which leads to higher public spending, which could increase inflation if not managed properly. However, regulation can be used to keep this critique of the theory in check. And with the Trump administration and his next presidency, he's planning to increase domestic energy production, reduce regulation, and impose tariffs on imports. With the unemployment rate in Keynesian economics and democratic socialism, it would boost aggregate demand. And during economic downturns, government spending on infrastructure projects and other public works can create jobs and reduce unemployment. And this can be achieved through the public sector job creation and strong labor protections in the public sector by ensuring that everyone who wants work can find a job. Trump's plan for the unemployment rate is to cut regulations, incentivize domestic manufacturing, like I said earlier, in the United States, and restrict immigration. And he believes he can create jobs by encouraging businesses to produce goods in the US. And finally, with taxes from the Keynesian economic perspective, there are flexible fiscal policies, and during recessions, it supports lowering taxes to increase disposable income to stimulate demand. However, during economic booms, it suggests raising taxes to kind of slow the economy and prevent it from rapidly increasing, which I'm still not sure why. With democratic socialism, it would require higher taxes to fund public services, and the rich and wealthy corporations would bear most of this. And the goal is to redistribute wealth and reduce economic inequality, which we talked a lot about in class. And Trump's plan is to permanently cut the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, make that permanent, and lower corporations' tax rate, which would eliminate taxes of Social Security benefits. Again, I apologize, that was incredibly dense. I just wanted to bring in the international relations political aspect of what I learned through this business economics class, because I thought that was really interesting and what I most enjoyed about the class as well. I'm realizing I probably should have made a skit or a little animation to make this a little more interesting. But anyways, ultimately, I don't believe that Trump's economic policies will affect me personally in the business world, because I'm not planning on going into, domestic production of, goods and services. What I am going to be worried about and keeping an eye on is cost of living, especially in Los Angeles. Hopefully I don't have to move, but it might come to that if things don't get better, so we'll see. Again, coming back to financial independence, that's really my only goal for 2028. And my closing thought is ultimately we have the opportunity to change the trajectory of these fallbacks if they do come true in 2 years. With the midterm elections, we'll just have to wait and see, which is why I hope these, fears and predictions only last until 2026 and not all the way to 2028. Thank you. Here are my works cited for this presentation.